Good evening, BookTube, YouTube. This is Johnny. Thought I'd make a video. This is a new angle. I'm down on the lower level. Behind me is a wall of books. It is going on 5:53 in the evening. It is May the 25th, 2021. It's a Tuesday evening. It is 81 degrees inside the hermit hut. And I have been mentioning I was going to show you the thrift store books that my wife and I bought last week. I think it was on our anniversary, which was the 19th of May, which was a Wednesday or a Thursday. Wait a minute, I have my diary here. Let me see. Yeah, this is the Excess composition book. And I got ready my June 2021 diary ready, since that's coming up. Got my Staples calendar. The Book Nook opens, the library used bookstore opens up on the 14th. So that's exciting. It's been almost closed a year and a half since this COVID-19 plague has ravaged the world. As far as my diary, I ended it today on page 583 for the year 2021. So what day was our anniversary? It was on the 19th. So last Wednesday, my wife and I, we visited thrift stores. We went out for lunch. Then we went to Captain Sunday for a, what do you call it? We went there for some kind of sundae. I can't remember what it is. Captain Sunday sells like ice cream, sundaes, milkshakes, ice cream cake, things like that. So as far as what I got this book in the mail yesterday, The Complete Gary Lutz. I ordered this from Tyrant Books. I have come across this in my reading the last couple of years, and finally the fellow who started Tyrant Books, he died recently, and I went to the website and finally I bought it. So I've been reading this yesterday and today, The Complete Gary Lutz. They're like short stories, kind of offbeat, kind of odd. So I've been reading that. Writing Excess in my composition book. So just going through the death flow. So I'm going to show you the books. And what I have piles here, and as I mentioned, as I've been dehauling, I'm trying to only buy books that go within certain collections. So I put these books in collections to show you that I'm not going to do what I did before, just buy books that at random or whatever interests me. Now I do buy things, I did buy a couple things that are not in collections. Like I bought this novel, Mr. Peanuts by Adam Ross. I never heard of this guy. I saw it at a thrift store. It was a New York Times notable book, which immediately grabs my attention. One of the best books of the year, The New Yorker, The Philadelphia Inquirer, The New Republic, The Economist. It's kind of like a crime kind of fiction kind of novel. So I bought it. So I don't know, I bought it at a whim. But usually I don't. So I got that Mr. Peanuts by Adam Ross. And I bought this novel. I had another novel by this, she's a Canadian writer, and I think I dehauled it, but this is another novel by Anne Maria MacDonald. And I had another novel, I think Fall on Your Knees I had by her, which I can't find. I must have dehauled it. But this is her novel, The Way the Crow Flies. So I had this another novel by her. She's a very prominent Canadian writer, if I remember correctly. But she lives in Toronto, it says here. But this was published in The Way Crow Flies was published in 2003. So I picked that up. So, and then I found, for my Russell Banks, who's one of my favorite American writers, I found the Book of Jamaica, which I didn't have in my Russell Banks collection. He wrote that very famous novel, The Continental Drift. He wrote, what else? Trailer Park, Continental Drift. So I got this Jamaica Banks, the Book of Jamaica by Russell Banks from my Russell Banks collection. I found this paperback at Salvation Army by Proust. I can't pronounce it. I never heard of this novel by him. Apparently, when he died, it was left and it was published. So I never, it's called Jean Chanu by Marcel Proust. I never heard of it, but I picked it up from my Proust collection. And then I picked up from my Jonathan Swift collection, which I was a friend of Samuel Johnson. I really got into Jonathan Swift and Edmund Burke and others at the time. I was reading that Samuel Johnson biography by James Boswell, The Life of Samuel Johnson. But this is the complete poems of Jonathan Swift. As you all know, he wrote Gulliver's Travels. I have two biographies on Jonathan Swift. This is one, Jonathan Swift, The Reluctant Rebel by John Stubbs. I have another one in the back room. So this goes into my Jonathan Swift collection. I also had this little book in our library by Jonathan Swift, A Tale of a Tub, The Battle of the Books, and Other Satires. So this goes into my Jonathan Swift collection. I found this book at Salvation Army. Well, no, I found this at Action House. Paper, Paging Through History by Mark Kurlansky. This is on the idea of what is paper, the history of paper. And I already had his book Cod by him. And then I had Salt, A World History by Mark Kurlansky. And then I had his book 1968 by Mark Kurlansky, The Year That Rocked the World. So this goes into my Mark Kurlansky collection. He wrote a lot of books, all kinds of books. And then I found a biography on William James, which goes in my William James collection, which is over there on the bookcase. This is a biography on the Philosophy of Pragmatism by William James. Genuine Reality, A Life of William James by Linda Simmons. This goes into my William James collection. So I got that. Then I found a collection of essays by George Welwell, which goes, I had this old beat up paperback of the same essays, and I found this really nice paperback of the same thing. So it goes in my George Elwell collection. Then I found this book that I had in my library, but this is a paperback, The Pursuit of the Millennium, revised and expanded edition by Norman Cohn. It's called The Pursuit of Millennium, Revolutionary Millenarians and Mystical Anarchists of the Middle Ages. I had this edition already in my library, but I got this paperback. It was only like 60 cents. And then I picked up a book on collecting books. I have books on books on collecting books. I found this. This is Instant Expert Collecting Books by Matthew Budman. I found this, The Grey Wolf Annual 5 Multicultural Literacy, Opening the American Mind. It's like a journal, a literary journal. The Grey Wolf This is another book on books, reading in bed, brief headlong essays about books, writers, and readers, and reading and readers. This is by Brian Doyle. Then I found a book by Peter Ackroyd. I have a huge Peter Ackroyd collection. He was a British scholar. I have all kinds of books by him. And I didn't have this one. This is Foundation, the History of England from its earliest beginnings to the Tudors. So this goes in my Peter Ackroyd collection. This is a book on, I collect books on Napoleon, the French Revolution, early 19th century, 18th century French history. This is The Days of the French Revolution by Christopher Herbert. So this goes into my French history, French Revolution, Napoleon, 19th century France collection. And then I found this little book, The English Medieval Town by Colin Platt. This goes in my medieval history section. And then I found this book by Jane Jacobs. She's a very famous architect, urban planner. This is her book, Nonfiction, Dark Age Ahead. She's famous for the book, The Death and the Life of the Great American Cities by Jane Jacobs. And then I found a couple, Susan Howatch. I start collecting her novels. This is her novel, The Heartbreaker. And then I found her novel, Susan Howatch, The High Flyer. And then I found her novel, The Wonder Worker. Susan Howatch. There's a picture of her. Yeah, I started collecting her the last 6-7 months. So I have a lot of her novels now. I have here 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. I have 8. This is of her kind of novels. So I started collecting her. I started reading a couple months ago this novel by her, Scandalous Risk, by Samuel Howatch. Her novels take place in the Church of England. The background is the Anglican Church, and the characters are involved in the Anglican Church and the hierarchy and theology and high church and all this. It's kind of like a Christian kind of novels taken from the Anglican high church, Church of England perspective. I have this novel by Ursula Hegi, I can't pronounce her name. I have another novel of hers that's somewhere in my library. This is her novel, Floating in My Mother's Palm. Then I found a couple books on Hannah Harnett. I have a couple of her books, Report of the Banality of Evil, Erckman and Jerusalem by Hannah Arnett. She wrote The Origin of Totalitarianism. And then I found also a biography on Hannah Arnett, The Love of the World by Elizabeth Young Morell. And I have her biography on Anna Freud by the same woman who wrote this biography on Hannah Arnett, Elizabeth Young Brunel, and she wrote this one on Anna Freud. I have. Then I found this book on the classical tradition, Greek and Roman influences in Western literature by Herbert Hyatt. And then I found this biography, Ancestral Passions, the Leakey Family and the Quest for Humankind's Beginnings by Virginia Morell. And then I found this book, The Future of the Four Fish, The Future of the Last Wild Food by Paul Greenberg. This is on how fish are becoming extinct. Salmons, sea bass, cod, tuna, and how we're just out fishing the oceans. Then I found this memoir on Sir Edmund Hillary, the remarkable memoir of the first person to conquer Everest, a view from the summit. I gave away all my Mount all those kinds of books when I dehauled, but I like memoirs and I couldn't resist. It's only 60 cents. So that's what I got. at the thrift stores last week, and all go into different collections, and some are just go into literary studies, and some go into the history of England, some go into medieval history, like medieval town. I don't believe in Darwinism, but I do collect books on evolution and anthropology and things like that. That's why I got this book, Ancestral Passions. Always collect books on books, reading in bed. Any book on William James I will get. So that's what I got at thrift stores. And like I said, I've been reading that The Complete Gary Lutz. So check him out. So I hope you're having a good week. This is a Tuesday. Tomorrow's a Wednesday. Yeah, we're waiting for the bookcases the first week of June. The next 4 bookcases will be going in this area. And Friday, there's a bag sale at the Blue Stocking bookstore. As I said, June the 14th. The Book Nook will open, the library used bookstore. Carol and I have signed up to volunteer. We signed up to help at the Friends of Library Used book sale in August. So, books. But like I said, I'm really controlling myself. I'm not going to get this place like it was before I dehauled. So, thank you for your comments. I do hope you're all doing well. I read this morning that half the population of the United States has been vaccinated, but I'm still kind of going to wear my mask, even though I have been vaccinated. My wife and I, we've both been vaccinated, so I don't know. So I'll sign off, and once again, I hope you're all doing well, and until next time, bye.